They didn't die because they were lost. They died because they were found. Imagine a shared tent. The air is thick with the scent of smoked meats, wood smoke, and the damp wool of 9 friends. Outside, the Ural Mountains are breathing, a low subsonic growl that vibrates the very marrow of your bones. Imagine the precise second that laughter turned into a blade. Not a blade held by a man, but a blade held by a collective bone-shattering panic. They cut their way out, not through the door where the buttons and ties would take too long. They used knives to slice through the heavy canvas. They fled into a -30-degree void, poorly dressed, some leaving their boots behind. The question isn't what killed them in the snow, traveler. The question is, what was inside that tent that made the freezing midnight Atlantic of the Ural Mountains feel like a sanctuary? Let us consult the archive. The year is 1959. Nikita Khrushchev is in power. The Cold War is a silent frost, and 10 students from the Ural Polytechnic Institute are seeking the highest difficulty in cross-country skiing. One hiker, Yuri Yudin, turns back early due to joint pain. He hugs his friends goodbye at the edge of civilization. He doesn't know he is hugging ghosts. Look at the hand-painted renders of their last camp. See the smiles? Igor Dyatlov, the leader. Zinaida Kolmogorova, the heart of the group. Yuri Krivonishenchenko, the one who always brought his mandolin. In the frames of our memory, they are vibrant, they are immortal, but the mountain is a patient predator. It was watching them from the moment they stepped onto the slopes of Kholat Syakhl. The Mansi name for this place is Dead Mountain. It isn't a warning, it's a description of the mountain's diet. On February 26th, the search party summits the ridge. They find the tent. It sits like a wounded yellow animal. To a forensic eye, the tent tells a story of domesticity interrupted by madness. A plate of sliced bacon sits on a crate. A newspaper is half read. A pair of slippers is tucked neatly under a sleeping bag. Humans do not leave their boots in a blizzard unless the alternative is infinitely worse. We find the cuts. 1, 2, 3, large, jagged slashes in the fabric. The investigators were baffled until they looked at the fibers. The tent was destroyed from the inside out. Why? Was the air inside the tent suddenly poisoned? Did they hear a sound so low, so terrifying, that their lizard brains took over? We look at the footprints, 9 sets of tracks. They aren't running, they are walking. A slow, rhythmic, single-file march down the slope toward the cedar forest. It is the walk of the condemned. 1 mile down the slope, the archive reveals the Great Cedar, a tree that has stood for 300 years. Under its boughs, we find Yuri Krivonishenchenko and Yuri Doroshenko. They are in their underwear. Their hands are charred, burned by the small fire they tried to light. But look closer at the tree. The lower branches are snapped off up to a height of 15 feet. There is skin and blood in the bark. They weren't just climbing to find the tent, they were climbing because something was on the ground with them. Imagine 2 boys freezing, huddling under a tree while they watch their friends drift into the dark. One of them bites his own knuckle to keep from screaming. The cold is a thief. It steals your logic before it steals your breath. The spring thaw of May 1959 brought the most harrowing evidence to the surface. In a ravine, 4 meters under the snow, the final 4 hikers were found. This is where the natural force theory begins to fail. Semyon Zolotaryov, Ludmila Dubinina, Nicolas Thibault-Brignol, and Alexander Kolevatov, they weren't just frozen, they were shattered. Thibault-Brignol's had a fractured skull so severe it mirrored a high-speed car accident. Dubinina and Zolotaryov had massive chest fractures, their ribs crushed inward as if by a giant's hand. And yet, the soft tissue was undisturbed. There were no bruises, no external impact. It as if their bones had been vibrated to the point of structural failure. And Dubinina, she was missing her tongue, missing her eyes. The archive suggests a more surgical explanation. We checked the clothing: Alexander Kolevatov's jacket, Yuri Krivonishenchenko's sweater. The Geiger counter, which has been ticking softly since the start of this file, begins to scream. High levels of beta radiation on a mountain in the middle of nowhere in 1959. Where did it come from? Was there a secret Soviet rocket test overhead? Did a canister of radioactive fuel leak into the atmosphere? Or was it something else, something the orange orbs left behind? Witnesses from a nearby hiking group reported seeing glowing, pulsating spheres in the sky that night. We render these not as sci-fi saucers, but as living, breathing anomalies. Soft, warm glows that mask a cold, radioactive heart. The hikers weren't just fleeing a sound, they were caught in a crossfire of technology they weren't meant to see. Let us consider the Kármán vortex street. When the wind hits the dome shape of Kolatsiakol just right, it creates an infrasound, 7 Hz, a sound below the human range of hearing, but one that the human body feels. It causes blurred vision. It causes a sense of overwhelming existential dread. It makes the heart skip beats. It triggers a response so powerful it can induce temporary psychosis. Is this why they cut the tent? Did the mountain itself become a weapon? Imagine the 9 hikers sleeping soundly when the wind shifts. Suddenly, the tent begins to vibrate. Their chests tighten. They feel as if the walls are closing in. They can't breathe. They can't think. They only know they must get out. They ran into the woods to escape a sound, but you cannot run from a frequency. In the paper lantern woods, we often see these echoes, like the Sato family disappearance we investigated in Evergreen Hollow. The Dyatlov incident represents a spatial breach, a moment where the environment becomes hostile to the human form. The Ural Mountains are a liminal space, a place where the 1950s Soviet reality touched something older, something that doesn't use doors. We see the found footage of their final night, a blurry image of a dark figure standing in the snow. Is it a trick of the light and a dying camera battery? The archive doesn't provide answers. It only provides the evidence of the silence. The Soviet authorities closed the case quickly. They called it a compelling natural force. They banned hikers from the area for 3 years. They buried the files in a basement in Sverdlovsk. But the mountain remembers. Every year, the snow falls on Kolatsiakol. Every year, it covers the spot where the tent once stood. We look at the last photo again. Zinaida, Igor, Yuri, they are still there, in the hand-painted layers of the woods. They are still 19. They are still smiling. They are waiting for someone to find the page the chronicler missed. They are waiting for the archive to finally explain why the radiation stayed on their clothes and why the mountain still hums when the wind comes from the north. The snow has reclaimed the pass. The iron filing cabinet is cold to the touch.
If you have felt that low-frequency hum in your own home, if you have seen the orange glow on the horizon of your own dreams, do not cut your tent. Stay in the light. Log your theories in the comments below. Were the orbs watching, or was the mountain just hungry? The Iron Chronicler will be reading your reports.